Just woke up again. I don't know. I guess the reason I slept in the middle of the day was because of stress reaction, and my cat had made it hard for me to sleep the night before. I say the night before, but I really don't operate on a 24-hour cycle. It's a lot more fragmented and random than that. And I can't really get hard data on it because it's it's hard to do sleep detection affordably. Like, I think there's a ring that'll let me do it, but that thing's like $300, and I'm like, yeah, I can't afford that. That's like a once a year massive purchase for me. Can't do that. I woke up and I sat down, and yeah, I wake up scheming every time. Like, I wake up thinking about what I can do to better my situation, to maybe somehow jump the poverty gap. Get go from zero income to enough income to pay for food so that I don't have to deal with that hideous valley in the middle where I'm making enough money to not get aid, but not making enough money to actually buy food. And then I'm just being a drain again on people around me, but more so because in addition to not being able to cover rent and not being able to do this and that, I'll also not have aid. And it's really deal breaking with regard to medical. I need Imitrex, and Imitrex is like $200 out of pocket. So, you know, that's like kind of a little shaved spot here because I scissored it off because it kept itching. It was just hair. Had like a little, the most deformed, tiny widow's peak in history. But, it looks all right, I guess. No worse than the patches of white. Makes it look like I'm going bald. And I did go bald briefly in certain parts. Like, I had like a patch, like right there and right there, like golf ball size patches. It was weird. They came back. Yeah, okay, whatever. But yeah, I scheme when I wake up, and I think about trying to get through that poverty gap. And you look at Reddit subreddits like Lost Generation and Poverty Finance and some other stuff. Um, I'm gonna write them my notes as I go this time because the last video I had to rewatch the video to do the description and notes section. Excuse me. But that's a waste of time. Of course, that doubles production time. So I'm gonna try and do it at the same time because it doesn't. It's not like I'm performing here. It doesn't matter what I'm doing during. And one of the things, I was thinking was just making more of these videos and hopefully getting some kind of practice slash foot in the door for an income through YouTube. It's just so hard. The idea of trying to make money online has to me it's been like a non-starter since the I guess 2010s. Excuse me. I had brief experience with eBay and Amazon, and they take anywhere on balance from between 30 and 50%, and that's not including the loss that you have to take on setting the price low to compete with just people who do it better, because that's the central problem of trying to make money online is that there's a million people just like you competing with you with a head start of some kind. And it's like there used to be this futuristic video that would make the rounds. It was viral, and I used to reshare it a lot because it would talk about basically singularity things and accelerating returns and statistics that would back that up and stuff, presented in a flashy, nice manner with music and all that. I can't remember the name of the video though. And but it's all outdated now. I mean, it's like trying to share a link to Beyond 2000, from the Discovery Channel. It's like old, old, old. And it had one particular statistic in it, basic math from dealing with a population of over 1 billion. And that was the population of China at the time. In pop culture, I guess it was probably more. But it said if you're 1 in 1 million, there's 1 million just like you in China. I don't even know if that math is right. It's probably not. 1 million times 1 million. But yeah, no, a billion's like 1,000 million, 10,000 million, 3 zeros. I don't know. Yeah, 1,000 million. But the idea is sound, even if the math is garbage. It's like just nobody is special. Now, I am very much against the notion of overpopulation. We are not overpopulated. We could fit everybody on the planet at New York density inside the state of Texas. So we have plenty of room, especially if we started building down like we used to. There are cities underground in Turkey carved out by hand. And to me, living off the surface is standard. We should do that anyway. I do worry though, because and that's why I don't really think of myself as a futurist anymore. We seem to do the worst thing with every technology we get, and we don't share it. Like the promise of the 1990s internet absolutely did not happen, and that has lessons for other technologies. Like we just completely, like, open source gaming never happened, and I still kind of don't understand. It's one of those things where I just the behavior of people, I don't get it. They're seemingly fact proof. They seemingly have speciated into a eusocial model in some places, and we put up with stuff I would never imagine. Like, I saw a thing on Reddit where a woman was told by paramedics that her son had died, and that's all that happened with her, and they sent her a bill. And not just any bill. I mean, charging for $5 for that would have been tasteless beyond description. But they billed her like $900. And there's this weird billing code about notification. And I'm like, just, how do you process something like that? And if I'm seeing it on Reddit for the first time, it means it's like roaches. If you see one, there's 1,000 you didn't. And that means that type of stuff happens all the time, and I never hear about anybody freaking out over it. Now, granted, we can be like, the news is fake. It's owned by 6 companies. The corporations hide all kinds of stuff. Or it's just not newsworthy, stupid capitalism, or they're incompetent. Whatever you want to say, the fact is, I didn't hear about it. And to me, that says some things about the nature of society. Like, for example, I never hear about CEOs having any kind of problems. Like, we used to throw pies at CEOs, and now the most that we do is throw soup at paintings. And I'm just, I don't know how to handle it. I basically go an hour at a time, whatever's directly in front of me, and this isn't working. I'm not making notes. So, good to learn. But yeah, I just don't know, how to proceed. So, like I said, I'm just an hour at a time, avoiding huge disasters as much as I can. But everything is decaying, and I feel like I'm very much on death row, so to speak. Like, something shitty is going to happen, right? And it's just a matter of time. I mean, first of all, aging. Aging is not good. Death is not good. And this goes to people being insane. Imagine me feeling the need to tell people that pain is bad, pain itself didn't convince them pain is bad, well, now I know why all the horrifying anti-crime measures of the medieval era didn't work. You know, people just, it's like trying to talk to ants. You know, you can, they'll keep doing what they're doing. You can do whatever you want to an ant, and it will keep trying to do the chemical program. And I don't know, I just, like, that is a core thing. I'm a ethical hedonist, negative utilitarianism type guy, you know, David Pierce, all that. But to me, that's standard. I mean, that's axiomatic. Like, the first thing a baby learns is that it feels stuff, and that some stuff has a good character and some stuff has a bad character, you know? Bash my hand into the thing and it starts to get sore, I stop doing that, right? You know, pain bad. And then later on, when we develop, it's like the ground floor of physical existence is that pain is bad and pleasure is good, and that the ground floor of consciousness existence is that existence is good and non-existence is bad. It's like you learn about death, so the first thing, the most important thing, is avoiding it. And I have to talk about that. I have to explain that to people, and I do, because you see how people act, and it's obvious that they don't really think pain is bad. They'll make excuses for it. They don't think death is bad. They don't think aging is bad. So I feel like it's totally that dog meme. You know, this is fine. The room is burning and everybody's fine. The room is on fire. It's beautiful quote from Star Trek Generations. Time is the fire in which we burn, you know? And then he says, in the Nexus, the Predator has no teeth. And I'm like, dude, that should be the goal. Now, in the movie, he's like, I'm going to destroy a planet to get there. But here's the thing. They're all dead already, in a sense. They've decided not to fight, not to care. Now, granted, I don't know anything about that planet in the Star Trek universe or whatever, but if it was Earth, it would be hard. It's hard to make an argument. Like, I mean, it's kind of a negative, it's kind of a utility monster thing, you know, where you get this one guy that gets a chance to have infinite pleasure at the expense of the rest of the planet. That's a classic utility monster thing. But what if your targets are all just living to live like ants? They're just making more ants, and that the character of their existence, on balance, is suffering and death, which leads to the idea of a loosh farm. You know, it's like Earth is a farm for negative energy, and some kind of hideous space monstrosities live just out of range and bask in the glow of our self-torture, you know? The fact that that's like not ridiculously laughable as a concept, the fact that I can make a serious, circumstantial kind of argument for something like that, shows you how crazy bad things are. And I share a quote all the time from this guy named Clarence Darrow, and he's talking about how nature just doesn't give a fuck, you know, and how saying nature is beautiful is straight from ignorance, because it's like, well, there's some stuff you haven't seen. And it goes to the problem of evil. You know, it's like, if God is all loving and all knowing and all powerful, then how come he doesn't, you know, why pain, death, cancer, mosquitoes, etc. And it's like, if you don't see the pain, death, mosquitoes and whatnot, well, you're crazy for not seeing it, you know. And it's like, you can understand where evolution would produce that, because people that hesitate get eaten, right, in a natural environment, expressly because nature doesn't give a fuck and nature sucks. It's like it's like the thing, you know, just put down the camera and help. It's like we film somebody being beaten to death by the cops in a city, and I say, stop filming and help. You know, there's got to be people around you. You have to outnumber them. Stop them. I mean, you let them arrest the guy, but stop them from beating him to death or whatever. You know, it's like nobody ever does anything. And I'm no different. I'm hiding here in the corner because I'm scared of the fucking mailbox. So I probably wouldn't do shit to a cop either, right? But man, the fucking feeling is still there, and I'm trying to do something with it and put it somewhere, and I'm screaming into the void here. Like, basically, I'm like, I don't want to die. I don't want to, like, have a horrible, just straight up, I don't want to die, right? So can we fix aging, please? You know, I have people I care about that are substantially older than me, and I would like to fix that. Especially if the birth rate is crashing, and it is hard. So if we're going to go to a model of not having babies, then we need to extend the durability of the existing set of people. I don't know. It's just, this is the shit that happens in my head all the time. It's just this constant dancing around in this state space of things, facts and ideas. I don't know if I deserve to live, right? I feel like that would be ethically, that would be a decision for the rest of the planet. Like, I put it up to vote, you know, everybody vote, you know, do I deserve to live? And everybody's going to have this list of caveats, right? And I wonder how many people are just going to say yes, just flat out, as a human right. I feel like it's a minority, right? I feel like the majority of people are going to attach conditional value to human rights, which makes them not rights. It makes them privileges that can be revoked when you violate whatever, you know. For some people, it's as simple as being a different religion. For others, it's as simple as being a different race. For others, it's political. You know, you don't belong to the correct capital letter team. And, you know, how do I deal with any of that shit? And I just want to survive. I just want to, I want no disaster to befall me and like the 5 people I really care about. And I don't think that's asking a lot, considering some people get a private space program. Some people made, while I was talking, like during this 15 minutes, 17 minutes, there's people that made enough money to make everybody I know a millionaire, set them up for life with a trust fund that pays them twice the poverty limit, buy them a house, and make their job consuming oxygen, you know? And I always wanted to do that. Since grade school, they told me, like in my other video, I talked about how I'm the smart kid, right? And they were always telling me, oh, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. And they mean economically, because wealth equals money in the capitalist delusion. Or intelligence equals wealth in the capitalist delusion. And they were like, you'll be fine. And I'm like, I'm taking everybody with me. I was the kid that, like, people would cheat off me on tests, and I didn't care. Of course I helped. I'd lean my shit to the side and hide, and I did everything I could to help people, you know, because I knew it was us against them. It was students versus teacher. I even asked in middle school, because like I was saying, like, I was the kid that wrote to Santa and said, just wake me up. You know, I wanted to know the truth. So I was always looking around with a very, how does that work? I took stuff apart. I built little robot kits, and I loved them, especially when they were clear, so I could see what was going on inside. I love that crap. So I was always like, what's going on? So I asked in middle school one time when they put us in teams. And my God, it was so classist. Like, I was in team 1, of course. They put all the smart kids in team 1, and then team 4 is like behavior problems and the LD classes. And I was like, well, I'm in LD, you know, like I'm in the class with the kids that have real problems, you know. And Mrs. Gregory, she was like, why are you here? You know, I was like, well, I just get, you know, dyslexia symptoms. And so she's like, oh, okay, well, welcome. You know. And I'm like, yeah, if I can help, let me know. And I did. I fixed their computer. They had like a I think it was an Apple IIe in the corner, and there was something wrong with the disk drive. It was mechanical, and I just popped the thing and fixed it. And then I put Battle Chess on there, and it was like, cool, yeah, can I play this? I was like, yeah, it was a paperweight before, and other kids would mess with it too, and so that was cool, right? So it's funny. I had a lot more fun in the LD classes than I had in the ALPS program, autonomous learning program or whatever, which was such a misnamed piece of shit. That's not autonomous at all. Such a lie. It was just more classes, harder homework and a degree of snootiness that is hard to fathom. So anyway, yeah, I asked him. I was like, you're putting us in teams so that it's students versus students instead of students versus teacher, aren't you? And I asked that, and I don't remember who I asked it to, but they just was like, yeah. They laughed. They thought it was funny and precocious and cute, and said, yeah, that's what we're doing. Because there was all these competitions, whoever gets the most this gets that, pizza party, office, corporate crap, and they just kept doing that. That was really a taste of things to come. That's completely. They're making a race war to avoid a class war meme stuff. It's like it's R versus D, and it's always poor versus poor. It's like the terrarium with the rich guy looking at the red hats versus the blue hairs, and it's like, oh yeah, you're keep fighting, guys, while we take everything. And being clever, being right, being able to prove that, being able to show people, talking about it doesn't seem to do shit. Because it, debate is a myth, link in the description, whatever. And I'm like, if that's the case, if none of this fucking shit matters and nobody ever fucking listens, then I just want to survive, right? And I'm not in a place to do it. Like, I'm lucky. Like, I haven't had it taken away by the state yet, but I feel like it's just a matter of time, because like I said, we don't have a government. These laws don't apply unless you're rich. Like, there's this whole class of crime called civil crime, right? My dad got hacked and scammed, and like they literally took out of his accounts, apparently, like a bunch of money. And he goes to the cops and he's like, theft, help. And they're like, you're going to have to call the state attorney. And I'm like, so theft isn't a police matter if you do it with a computer. Theft is a police matter when it's a poor doing it with a gun or a knife. And especially if they took from another rich person, took from a rich person. And it's like, so we have this whole class of crime that's completely legal as long as you can pay the fines. So what's going to happen is my dad can't even put it on record that they did that. So if they ever get caught and there's ever restitution of any kind, he won't see it, and they won't get in trouble for what they did specifically to him. They'll get in trouble for other people. So if they put away enough money to pay their fines, pay their bail and all that stuff, and don't have to go to jail because it's white collar crime, non-violent, whatever, then they'll have still made a profit. And this happens with corporations all the time, especially with environmental violations. Like the EPA is such a farce because like you dump cadmium in the river, you pay $30,000 fine, but you made $30 million because you didn't have to properly deal with that cadmium. And I saw a story about a kid. He's a miner working in a meat packing plant. So yeah, the company should be just executed there. Like corporate execution needs to be a thing. IP goes public domain, all assets are seized, shareholders don't get anything. So that there's incentive for shareholders to care if the corporation that they're profiting off of is an evil, monstrous machine. Anyway, so yeah, the government charges that company like $1,700 or something. It's like, yeah, because that's the going rate for a 17-year-old's hand. It's like, if you're not crazy and upset and yelling into the void and you're soulless and not paying attention or something, and so given all that, and I talk and it doesn't matter, debate doesn't matter, people don't give a fuck. I just want to live, right? So I'm like basically asking you as a viewer, and not if you already know me, because I know the 5 people that actually care about me will take this seriously for them. And I'm like, not you. You do enough. It's like, can I have $1? You know, can I have like $1 a year? Like if I got like $1 a month from X people, you know, $12 a year, it would be life changing. I don't have warm running water. I can't give details because it's technically illegal to be that poor in this country. And just think about it. You get it. And or ask some people, but not me, you know. And you know, so please help, right? Is this worth it? I'm going to keep doing this anyway, you know, so and of course everybody, like nobody with money is going to see this and care. No. So, I don't know. But I feel like I got to try, and that's the scheming part, you know. I'm like, because I think what I can do, like I noticed there was a thing, I think it was in Substack, where I could set a subscription fee, and I basically need to do the math for jumping the poverty gap. Like, what would my income have to be to actually cover medical insurance and food? Because that's what I would lose if I started making any kind of money at like a job or whatever. And because like my dad, love him, he like signed up to, he pledged, you know, to give a donation or whatever, but it doesn't happen unless I turn that on, right? So I'm not going to turn it on because I don't want him to, you know, not him, not one of the 5, right? However, if I got a bunch of people to pledge, you know, I could like just not take anything until it's enough, right? I'll make sure not to turn it on until I'm like, yeah, I can live on that. Fantasy, that's not gonna fucking happen. Nobody cares, right? And nobody should care. It's like it's there's always somebody way worse off than you. And I hate how the billionaire system makes that into a way to just sit down and shut up and get back to work, right? But I'm not an idiot. I'm not like, I get it, right? It really is genuinely worse for other people, and there is triage. There's more immediate things, but I didn't ask to be born, right? I'm just as much an accident as everybody else, and it's like I just want to live, you know. Like these things, like pain, fucking hurts me, right? Fear hurts. And man, I got nothing but fear and despair and anger and confusion, because just look around. What the fuck is going on? You know? I mean, I know what's going on, but that's not what I mean. It's like, why can't I get through to people? Why doesn't facts and evidence and logic, like I'm constantly telling people the government's fake. Like, we don't have a government. We don't have elections. I can prove it. Link in the description, right? And they keep talking about politics, and it's a fucking TV show. It's a TV show. It's literally green screens and cameras and scripts. And it has no impact on policy. We have no impact on it. At no point in American history has the will of the people been reflected in policy, so we've never had a government. Why do you care who's said who to what in what building, and Trump and Biden, and who fucking cares? It's just a rubber stamp for corporate rule anyway, and you don't care about that either. Or you think you can vote your way out of it, and you can prove that it's all rigged. They had said it in court. They openly said there's no such thing legally as a Democrat. There's no such thing legally as a Republican. It's just words. There's no legality to it. There's no contractual binding. You know, it's, you donate your $5 to RFK, it goes to Biden. I mean, that was the entire point of the DNC fraud lawsuit, is that funding doesn't go where they said it's going to go, and the whole contest was rigged from the start. So, but there's all these channels that are just constantly doing the political thing. You know, oh, political figure F said Y today. People that seem otherwise intelligent, that seem well-meaning, that I don't think are, you know, Mockingbird. You know, I don't think they're faking it. And I tell them, and I get some replies. Like, I even get one that said, you know, she agreed with me, but yet she's it's weird. Like, you see people, they'll partially say the thing, right? And you're like, okay, you're getting it now. Logically, what follows from that? What does that imply? What does that mean? Surely you're going to stop doing this dumb thing if this is, you know, and I'm like, and they don't, you know, they just go right back to political thing. He said, she said, and wow, this week's episode of WhiteHouse.tv is sure fun. And it's as meaningless to me as football and Pokemon and all that stuff. And those are more honest, because at least they say, yeah, no, we're not trying to tell you that we're going to mess with inflation, but that's what White House TV says, and it's just all a lie. And I can't wake people up, and I just want to survive, right? It's funny, like the new American dream is get out of America, and what I think about doing when I do get out is basically subsistence farming. I think about a little homestead, a self-sustaining thing. You know, it's like with a big ass garden on top of the septic tank, you know, close the loop with a creek and a big fat solar panel across the top, you know, shade forever, dig the house into the ground for insulation, nice hobbit hole, all that, you know. And I'm like, it's 2023. We should be jetpacks and flying cars, and we could be, you know, drones delivering people-sized product. But it's not. It's, I wish I could grow my own potatoes and have a couple cows, right? This is not what they told me, right? One thing I don't understand is I do see all these people struggling, right? All these people being like, I'm going deeper into debt, and my job doesn't seem to be doing anything. I'm like, well, general strike then, quit. You know, use a couple of your paychecks to brace up for being homeless and just go join. You know, and the homeless confuse me too. Of course, that community is destroyed by drugs and insanity, right? But there's plenty of normal people there too. It's like, how come you guys don't just protest constantly? Like, if I lived in an RV or whatever, and I would park that RV somewhere near where I could protest every day. I think. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's just, I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know. I don't understand why people don't do something, say something, fight. Even if it's completely just waving their arms and yelling for an hour a day. I mean, like the crazy guy with the end is nigh placard naked ringing a bell, you know, at least he's trying, right? I don't fucking get it. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to tell people to do. I just know that everything is fucking broken. And thanks for listening to me rant, I guess. I'm gonna go play a fucking video game, because what else is there, right? I mean that's I should squeeze as much enjoyment out of my last hours as I can, because that's what they feel like. They constantly feel like last hours. It's like I'm going to die in some accident, or I'm going to get smashed by a car, or I'm just going to be subjected to a situation that's so bad I'm going to check out, because it's like, I'm not the guy that gets his arm trapped under a boulder for 16 hours and cuts it off with a pocket knife and crawls back to civilization. I don't want to live that bad, okay? So it's like, I'm not going to kill myself, right? Anytime soon. If I did, it would be like in my 80s euthanasia style. So I'm like, but at the same time, there are limits. And I guess I'm not alone there, because the rate is skyrocketing, you know? So yeah, if you think I deserve to have oxygen, that would be great. put your money where your mouth is. Can I have $1 a year? You know? And it needs to be consistent, because a gift won't help anything unless it's like a $2 million gift, and then insert the rant from the gambler John Goodman here. It's like any guy in the world knows what to do when you're up $2.5 million. You put it in the bank, you buy a house, you buy a good car, and you live off interest. And I'm like, that would be great, right? But I don't need a $20 thing from Amazon. That's not going to change my life. You know, I need big things, and like water heater, remodeling, that kind of stuff. And so yeah, but yeah, I guess I'm not even really asking for that, because like I said, if I did start to get a trickle of people doing that, giving me $1 a year, there's this huge gap where I would have to come up with ways to pay for medical and food without aid. I mean, it's... Anyway, I'm repeating myself. Thanks for watching. Bye.